Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl Butler, and you're listening to the Mighty Mommies Quick and Dirty Tips podcast, which will help make your life as a parent a little bit easier and a lot more fun. Welcome! This week, I am so excited to be joined by Laurie Gelman. Laurie was born and raised in the Great White North. She spent 25 years as a broadcaster in both Canada and the United States before trying her hand at writing novels. Class Mom is her first book, and boy, is it great. Funny, poignant, and it's so endearing. On this week's episode, Laurie is going to share 9 things that just don't work for her as a mom today. Welcome, Laurie. It's great to have you.
Thanks, Cheryl. It's great to be here.
Well, let's dive right in and get started.
Okay.
As moms, we know we have a zillion different hats that we wear, and many of them we don't have a clue that we would be signing up for when we became moms.
Oh, I know.
So until we're in the trenches, we don't know. So let's get started. Please share with our listeners what's number 1 on your list of things that just don't work for you as a mom.
I mean, I have to tell you, these are in no specific order, but when the kids volunteer you to drive everybody somewhere where you're just sitting down maybe for the first 5 minutes of your life and doing nothing, and it's like, can you drive, 6 of us to the mall? Or I told everybody that I'd pick them up and we'd all go it's like, what? Really? You did? The mom taxi.
And it's always in front of their friends or worse, their friends' parents. Like, no pressure. We have to come up with a reason why we can't do it because now we're on the spot.
Right, exactly. And you don't want to be that mom. It's like, oh, no way. Go play in the backyard. So you want to be the cool mom, the hip mom.
That's right. We do not want a reputation. We have enough things that we have to live up to. We don't need that reputation as a mom. All right. So what's number 2 for you?
When their homework becomes my homework. I have a real issue with this, especially when they decide at school that they're going to assign a fun project for over the Thanksgiving weekend. And all of a sudden, it's supposed to be family time. It's supposed to be you relaxing. And all of a sudden, you're making a penguin piñata for the Spanish class. I couldn't believe we were doing this on a Sunday. It was like we waited till the last second. And then we were actually in Florida for Thanksgiving. So I had to bring it back on the plane with me, and it had to go through security, and everybody was looking at it. And I was like, oh, cripes.
Oh, I know. I hear you. I always get these things with my 8 kids. It was always at like 8 o'clock at night, right before like the local Rite Aid or CVS was going to close, when we had to come up with the materials that we needed. But Mom, it has to be due tomorrow. Or my other pet peeve with homework is when they assign kids to do group projects.
Yes.
And you probably know as well as I do, your kid always gets in a group where someone's a slacker.
Yes.
And your kid is going to pick up the rest of the slack, and that means you're going to, because now you have to drive that kid to your house to work on it, and then you're trying to arrange the logistics of making that work. Right. Meanwhile, the teachers are back at school thinking this is a great team building activity. Right. And I've spoken my mind about this at PTO and other places where anybody will listen to me at this point. So I love that one. That is on, I think, every parent's list.
And you so beautifully hooked it back into number 1, which is when your kids volunteer you to drive people somewhere.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We're Uber moms now. How about your third one?
Oh, losing control of the car radio. This just happened to me recently when my daughters were old enough to sit in the front seat. I mean, when they're little, you don't mind playing the cute songs for them because, makes them happy, keeps them quiet, and everybody sings. It's fine. When all of a sudden my daughter's in the front seat and she's clicking on the EDM music, and I was like, gee, do we really have to listen to this? She goes, Mom, come on, this is the greatest. You have to stay hip and try. I'm like, no, let's go to the 80s on 8. I love that channel.
Oh, boy, Laurie, we're all nodding our heads because we're all in agreement with this. Now what I do, and I have kids that are driving now, but I say to them when we get in the car, bring your earphones, put them on, and I listen to audiobooks now. That's what I do in the car. So they've had to be retrained because those little fingers are faster than mine. And when you're trying to drive and not bang into somebody or have an accident, you have to kind of let go of that. So they win that battle. But we had a little family conference about that. So I love that one too.
I love your idea of having an audiobook in the car. That's fantastic.
Well, I know what I'm going to be listening to next week when I go to New Hampshire. I heard about this wonderful book that I'm going to be listening to. And it's actually a book about going back to school. When you bring your kids back, college kids back to school, and like the transition that parents go through. And it sounds really good. I can't think of the title at the moment, but that's going to be next up. And my kids don't want to listen to that. So I'll have all the quiet I need. What's next on your list?
Being a short order cook, because Misha doesn't like eggs, but Jamie does. And Misha wants her bacon crispy. And then somebody else wants yogurt. And when they have their friends over, all of a sudden you become, the chef of the day, trying to keep everybody happy. My mother used to just put a box of cereal out, and that was it.
Oh, I tell you what, I say to my mother, we had 5 kids in our family, and I'll say to my mother, Mom, I don't know how you did this. She said, you're doing it with more kids than I had. But now what I get is my kids, since we have a large family, they like to pick best friends that are only children. So it's really kind of funny. But then they'll come home, and, my son the other day said, oh, Jackson's mother lets him pick out all the side dishes every night for dinner. I said, well, get an invitation to Jackson's for the rest of the week then. That sounds great. Will your mother be invited too?
I know, right? Oh, well, good for Jackson's mom. I'm sure she's got tons of time on her hands.
She must, because it's not happening in my world. But I chuckle thinking about it. Yeah. When their turn comes, when they're parents, but we're not going to go down that route quite yet. So what are some other things that just don't work for you?
Being a Sherpa and a human garbage pail. Now, this one just gets me because they're literally they have a piece of something, a candy wrapper or a piece of paper or anything in their hand, and they just look to you and hand it to you. I'm like, I'm not the garbage. Throw it in the garbage. And to this day, it's like, what do I do with this? And I look at them, I go, what are the options? What do you think they are? And they go, can you hold it?
Yes. Oh, that is definitely on every mom's list as well. And dad's too, I think. And in the car, I find this too. We're running from a sports practice or something. They have their Gatorade and they've got maybe a quarter of it left. The cap's not on. Right. They put it down and they look at me as I'm like getting my briefcase and everything. I have to get out of the car and I'm supposed to grab the rest of that sticky Gatorade and take it out. We're all in that one together as well.
Yeah. Pretty disgusting.
Something else.
Oh, being blamed for everything. My daughter gets a bad haircut. It's my fault. She gets a bad grade. It's my fault. She says the wrong thing. It's my fault. Everything is my fault, apparently.
Yes. Well, that was part of one of those hats that we were given when we gave birth, that we were going to take that on. And another thing in our house is we have that little gremlin, not me, that lives there. Mm-hmm. So it was never anybody else that, left the door open so the dog ran out or nobody ever owns. They take the last bit of milk and nobody says anything. And it's always the toilet paper. Nobody can change the roll of toilet paper when it's empty. So definitely that one. We're nodding. We're still nodding, Laurie, because we get this. We might have whiplash by the end of the episode because we're all there. And something else?
The next one is being a professional getter. And what I mean by that is, and actually, when they're little and they need, like, Mom, can I have a glass of water? Sure, you go get it. You go get it, because it's easier for you to do it. Even as they get a little bit older, it's like, it's quicker and easier and less messy if I go and get it for them and bring it back. But now my kids are 16 and 13. And seriously, they sit on the couch and like, Mom, can I have? I'm like, really? Get up and get it yourself, But I feel like I primed them because in their early days, I would be like, no, I'll get it. It's okay. But now, all of a sudden, I'm trying to retrain them to get up and get it themselves.
Right. Well, you know what? I think most of us can agree. I think we're enablers.
Yes.
You're right. You start it because you're in the middle of several different things and they need something, and it is easier to get it yourself than to stop and explain where it is or to try to direct them. It's definitely easier. And this is how we get ourselves at this point when they're teenagers. When you said professional getter, it also made me chuckle about being my kids being professional forgetters, because this one, I'm not sure, I'm sure you'll relate to this. They get to school or they get where they're, and they have forgotten something. So in the beginning, you feel badly. I had a lot of my kids are close in age, so this is where I turned the line on this forgetter thing. I had 2 kids that were toddlers, and my other kids were in school. And one of my junior high school kids called in a panic. Mom, I forgot my gym bag. I have gym in 20 minutes. So I have pajamas on, the worst hair day you could possibly imagine. And I have 2 kids that are, sick and cold, snotty noses, the whole bit. I grab them, I put a hat on, I get in the car, I drive down to the school, which is exactly 20 minutes away, thinking, okay, I've done it. I did this. And I drag the kids into the office. Everybody looks at me like, what is Mrs. Butler up to? And I realized I had forgotten the gym bag at home.
No, you didn't.
All that.
Oh my gosh.
So now
that's my new favorite story. I was thinking you're a saint. You're amazing.
I've dragged it all down and now I have to, and they know me because I'm pretty involved in school. So I turned around as quickly as I could and I said, she's just going to have to she's going to have to face the music with the gym teacher. I can do no more here. And I slunk on out of there, grabbed the kids, and we got in the car. I was humiliated. I think I called my mother. My mother said, oh, if that's the worst thing that happens to you, you'll be doing okay. But so I relate the getting and the forgetting. It's all in there. And again, everyone is nodding. They're saying, yep, we know.
Yeah, no, the forgetting is like ridiculous. Once I had my younger daughter forgot something important. It was her homework. So I put it by the door because they leave at separate times. And I said, give this to your sister, put it in her locker. Okay. Walks out the door, forgets it as well. And I mean, what can you do at that point?
You're good, though. You had plan B. See, that was good. We do. We have these strategies that, if that doesn't work out, we're going to go to the next thing. We try to, to make it as easy as we can on them. And sometimes you just have to really let them find out, fall flat, and then they pick themselves up and they learn.
That's the only way because we're not doing them any favors otherwise. It's so true.
No, but it's hard. As moms, it tugs at our heartstrings, and we want to be there. We want to do it. But really, there comes that time when you just have to say, okay, enough is enough, and they're going to have to learn. Otherwise, forget it. That's our whole life. And what's the next thing on your list?
Next one is being expected to be crafty. This happened quite a few times, and it was, again, the last minute thing where at 9:00 on a Sunday night, my daughter came running in and said, I forgot, I have to dress like a pilgrim tomorrow in an app. I know, right? I'm like, you forgot that? And it's important and I need a costume. So it's, at 10 o'clock at night, I'm Googling how to make a pilgrim costume and trying to put
I think Google saves us every time, or YouTube.
Or YouTube or Pinterest, one of them. Yeah, no, it's so true. Yeah. Are you crafty?
I laugh about this because I used to be, before I had kids, we didn't have kids for about 8 years. I had gone through infertility, the whole bit. So we did a lot of things in the beginning years of our marriage that I had time for. So I used to be like a craft store junkie. I was scrapbooking. I was decorating for the seasons. I was,
wow.
People would come in my house and then, but I didn't have kids.
I was going to say, talk about time on your hands.
I had nothing. But then I had kids. I had the first 4 kids in 3 years. So that was the end of anything crafty for me. And to this day, 23, 24 years later, I am best friends with the hot glue gun and a stapler.
Yep.
Whatever I can concoct with that, I do. But forget the rest. And, the new moms, Laurie, it's so funny to go into some kind of an event where I've been around for a while because my youngest daughter is going into the 6th grade. So the poor kid, the other kids got different treatment from me as far as the energy I had for putting into these projects. And she just, she's the last one on the wheel.
She's the forgotten butler.
Yes, and I try, but the new moms that come in, they're so energized, they're so excited. Oh, we're going to take this on. And I say, I think it's great. I'm like, more power to you. Please come on in, and we like to pass the torch because in our school, it's usually the same group of people that sign up for things.
Right.
And I'm like a fossil now. It's like, oh God, the butler woman's a dinosaur. She's still around. So I love when like the new mommies come in and they've got great ideas and great energy, and they are crafty, some of them. And I say, God bless, because my days with that are certainly behind me.
Cheryl, you're not older. You're just wiser.
That's true. Thank you. Thank you for
welcome.
That, Laurie. Moms have to lift each other up, too.
Exactly. My last one. Do you want to hear the last one?
Oh, I do.
It's expecting to be a human encyclopedia because, and as when they're little, they always ask you, what does this word mean? What does that mean? But we were both, my husband and I were both looking forward to the day when we could help with homework. I don't know why we were looking forward to it, but we were. So all of a sudden, 3rd grade, Jamie gets homework. We're like, yes, we can help her. We're the wise parents. And she walks in and she said, I need to define this word without using the actual word. And I said, okay. She goes, estuary. And I'm like,
ooh,
just a minute, please. And I ran in the other room. I'm like, what does estuary mean? It was a 3rd grade word. I mean, it was the funniest thing, though. I'm like, yeah, maybe I'm not qualified to help with the homework after all.
Oh, the math, Lori, the new math. Oh my goodness. I pray on the days that they come home and they have to do everything is problem solving. You have to break it down into show your work and how many steps to fit it. And I'm thinking, whatever happened to just multiplication and your times tables? And oh, Mom, we don't do it like that anymore. So I say to them, I'm grateful that I have older high school kids at home because I said, you're going to have to go ask your brother. That is just way out of my pay category.
No, you've got built-in tutors. You're so lucky.
I don't know what you're talking about. That is a great one. Laurie, this has been so much fun. As we wrap up here, thinking about some of these impossible positions that we get faced with, do you have a tip for how, you stand your ground and you get through this?
In general or in specifically dealing with school? What do you...
Yeah, how about you pick one for the school, because the new school year is right around the corner. So how do you stand firm with your kids when it comes to these things? Like if they're going to, hit you up with a project at the last minute or oh, Mom, can you drive us to such and such a store? We've got to get things for the talent show or whatever. How do you get through it?
I mean, I'm a big marshmallow. I'll always say yes because I didn't have a mother that did that. I had the mother who was like, tough, do it yourself. And I didn't like that answer. So I'm always the mother that, is like, yes, of course, I'll go out at midnight and pick you up. Flashcards, whatever. But I'd say that just be consistent, whatever you're going to do. Don't all of a sudden be one way and then the other, so they expect that you're going to do it. And then all of a sudden you turn around and, well, things are changing as of right now. And now I won't do it. So I'd say stay consistent with whatever you're going to do.
That is great advice. And I was going to say that's exactly what I do with my kids, because I'm so outnumbered. And I'm the same way. I'm a yes man. So in school, they know, yes, ask Cheryl Butler. She'll help out. In church, they know it. And my kids know it. And so do all their friends. But I do have a look. I think most mothers, we have a look. Yes. And if the kids get the look, even if it's on the sly, they know that, okay, you're pushing me a little bit here. I'm going to give in and I'm going to help. But this is not one of those situations that's easy for me. So then we just have a little chat about it afterwards when we have that private time, like in the car when they're not listening to their station.
Yeah, exactly.
But consistency really is the key, I think, to parenting. If they have expectations, and they know that, parents are going to lean one way or the other, then they know what's expected of them. And kids really deep down, they crave that. They like those boundaries, but they certainly also like to have, Mom doing everything she can to make their life easier. And that's what we've become.
I know. Well said. I couldn't agree more.
Well, Laurie, thank you so much for stopping by and chatting all things mom with us today. And those 9 topics are perfect, spot on, and great. Good luck with the book. Where can people pick up Class Mom?
They should be in stores everywhere. It came out on August 1st, so you should be able to pick it up anywhere you like.
Great. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of summer and happy back to school in a few weeks.
Thanks, Cheryl. Nice to talk to you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Cheryl.
So, what doesn't work for you as a mom? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section at quickanddirtytips.com/mighty-mommy. Post your ideas on the Mighty Mommy Facebook page or email me at mommy@quickanddirtytips.com. And I hope you'll visit my family-friendly boards at pinterest.com/mightymommyqdt. Thanks again to my guest, Laurie Gelman, for the fun chat today. As always, thanks for listening. And until next time, happy parenting.